70 Christians have been found beheaded. Yes, beheaded in a church in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Why is no one reporting this? Why does no one seem to care? Well, let me bring in Dexter Van Zyl, an expert on anti-Christian violence. Dexter, what can you tell us about this absolutely barbaric atrocity?
Okay, well, first of all, it took place in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is a huge country with about 105 million people, that right now is basically in a conflict with neighboring Rwanda over territory in Kivu, okay? And the violence was perpetrated by an organization that was affiliated with ISIS. And the thing is that there are some people who have argued that they are essentially working on behalf of Rwanda, because Rwanda is a neighboring country that covets and is actually taking control of an awful lot of the mineral resources.
Thanks, everybody, for joining me to discuss a very, very serious issue. Yesterday, we witnessed an extremely sad moment in American history. We saw the President of the United States aligning himself with the dictator of Russia, Vladimir Putin, to undermine the independence of Ukraine and its democracy.
You guys are screwing with things that are not supposed to be messed with. And
well, we're fighting the Matrix.
There's a lot of people that really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, we're fighting the Matrix big time here.
Yeah.
But it's got to be done.
Yeah.
And
are you? It certainly does. What's going on with? Tell us about Fort Knox.
Yeah.
There's Kentucky. It's a military base. It's a ton of gold, tons and tons and tons
like
of gold.
5,000 tons of gold or
5,000
tons
of gold are there in the ground and like this. I mean, it's a very secure
thing. I think
thing.
we all want to see it.
I'd love to see it.
Like, this is your gold, by the way. It's the public's gold.
Do you think it's not there?
I don't know. But I think
you just want to see it.
Yeah, we want to go see it and just make sure, like, somebody did a spray paint some lead or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, is this real gold? Fight at the bar, you know?
Didn't dent.
But I think, honestly, part of this also is just like, let's have some fun and like I said, all this gold at Fort Knox, it's the public's gold. It's your gold. So, like, I think you have, like, a right to see it.
You want to take a tour?
You know? Yeah. I think we should have do a tour. And then the president last night was like, I think he's in favor of it. That would be cool. And then it should be like a live tour. Like, you can see what's going on, open the door, like, what's behind it.
Well, and there's...
I think I'd watch that.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, what does 5,000 tons of gold look
totally.
like?
What does
How
it
big
look
is
like?
that? Is it the size of this?
It's got to be pretty big,
I mean, It's got to be a lot of gold.
Maybe there's some other stuff in there, like just walk around, like, I don't know, maybe they got some other stuff in there.
Are you thinking about auditing the Federal Reserve as well, which is obviously
yeah, sure.
Regulates our economy.
Day, and there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt, which is, if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. Doesn't matter.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Hey guys, Carlos Cortez here with another episode of Scriptures and Wall Street. I am excited to talk with you folks today, to have a simple conversation on what the heck is going on. Like, there's planes falling apart, crashing, coffee's actually going down, commodities are being traded. Elon Musk is getting a lot of hate all over the world. We got gold shipping out from London to the United States because they're afraid of tariffs. We have brink of stock market collapses. We see reports from Pfizer saying, oh, yeah, there is a lot of issues going on with the vaccine.
We also have the head of Pfizer here, so I want to thank him. One of the great people, one of the great businessmen. Thank you, Albert. Thank you.
5 years later, of course, we knew that there were some crazy side effects. I mean, you had to be living underneath the rock, like, duh. So many things, guys, like, just, it's amazing. And so talk about Ukraine, talk about Doge, like all the things, Social Security payments, the dead people, the immigration issues. I mean, there's just so much to talk about and a lot of market instability. But I want to pan over to the woke media finance real quick. Anyways, before I get started, just so you know, everything on this podcast is meant for what? For education and information purposes only. Even though I am a financial advisor, everything on this podcast is not investment advice. So do not take what I say for investment advice. If you would like investment advice, seek a financial professional such as us. You can give us a call, 813-448-3446. I'm more than happy to give you investment and retirement planning advice if you give us a call. And if you do give us a call, I'm going to send you another book. I'll send you this book. I only have a few hundred left, but you can call our office, 813-448-3446. Again, 813-448-3446. Or just go to AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com. AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com. You can download a free guide about our process, The Color of Money. If you haven't seen The Color of Money, before you give us a call, watch The Color of Money podcast. It will blow you away. There's so much packed information of my 20 years of experience into compartmentalizing a simple strategy that you could effectively, tangibly use to quantify and qualify your retirement so that your retirement can grow, keep up with inflation, pull income out while your money is growing, and not be subject to all of this nonsense, to all of this volatility, to the Jerome Powells of the world, to the Delta crashes of the world, to the Zelenskys of the world, right? To all these distractions, guys. So much distractions, and you really don't even have to worry. You don't even have to worry when you're a client of ours, because we believe in safe money strategies, right? We compartmentalize your risk. We understand what your risk is. We tell you what the risk is. We give you a score on your risk. If you want risk, we are going to qualify it for you, quantify it for you, and you will be transparently aware of what is actually going on. Speaking of which, raise your hand if you know exactly what your advisor is putting you in. Do you even know what you're invested in? Like, do you even know what your risk score is? Call your advisor tomorrow or Monday. You're probably watching this on a weekend. Call your advisor or on a weekday, depending on different networks. Call your advisor and ask him. Write it down. What is my standard deviation? How much risk am I taking? If he or she doesn't understand what is the standard deviation in my portfolio, it might be time. I'm just saying, it might be time to get a new advisor. It might be time, because it's very easy for an advisor to invest your money, your hard-earned money that you worked for, that you don't have the ability to what? To gain it back, because We're now 60, 65 years young, and we just don't have 15, 20 years to make things back. So you need to understand going into 2025, you got to have a grasp on your risk. I know this is like, it feels cookie cutter, but you'd be surprised. Like 95% of financial advisors and money managers, they don't even know the standard deviation of their own assets. They don't know how much risk they're taking. They just assume their advisors has been a conservative model because they answered 100 questions based on your risk tolerance. But that doesn't necessarily translate. Into a portfolio that mirrors your risk tolerance. So I said this in the last podcast, and I use client examples all the time. So there are prospectuses out there for mutual funds, and mainly a lot of Americans have mutual funds. But do you know that mutual funds have investment objectives? The mutual fund that you invest in, whether it's the Franklin Income Fund, the Fidelity Contraband Fund, the Vanguard Total Target Date Fund, whatever it is, MFS Fund, American Century, American Funds, they all have investment objectives. Read that investment objective and see if it aligns with your risk tolerance and values. I guarantee you, it probably doesn't. This is why cookie cutter advisors tend to split up your money with 10, 15 different mutual funds and then charge you an advisory fee and say it's a well-managed portfolio. But what you're actually doing is you're correlating your assets and we call this overlap. There's so much overlap where when NVIDIA goes down, you own NVIDIA and like 4 different mutual funds. If you dive deep into those mutual funds and boom, when the stock market goes 20%, you're daggone down like all of that and some. And so we call this a correlated matrix, correlation, overlap, whatever you want to call it. And so I've been seeing this a lot where a client will have multiple advisors and they have these cookie cutter portfolios and it's the same daggone investments. Like everybody has NVIDIA, Apple, all the woke companies. But unfortunately, if you don't look into it, you could have overlap. You could have correlation. And trust me when I tell you, there will be some volatility. We're going to show you the charts here. We're going to show you the VIX. We're going to show you the wedge pattern that's forming right now on the S&P 500. I haven't even looked at the NASDAQ, but I'm going to take a look at it. And we're going to see what the heck is going on. There's been some volatility just today alone. The message doesn't change. The message doesn't change, guys. Like you literally have to take advantage of what we are doing here. Like if you don't want to understand, if you don't trust what is going on, then give us a call. We want to help you. I only want to work with God-fearing patriots. If you want to complain about a t-shirt or my appearance, I may not be the right fit for you. If you want to complain that I want to love a Black or Spanish or even Jewish person because that's what Jesus did, then I'm not the right fit for you. Yes, we love people of all walks. That's what Christ said in the Word of God. He said that love your enemies, pray for them. That is one of the hardest, damnedest verse ever. That one and love your neighbor as yourself. I struggle with that daily. There's a lot of things I struggle with. I struggle with that verse. I struggle with lust. I struggle with, I used to struggle with alcohol. But I am a sinner. And we are not going to hate Jewish or Roman people. That is idiotic. God says in John 3:15, I'm going off memory, that if you have hate in your heart, you have committed murder. You legit have committed murder, and you will not inherit the kingdom. I mean, if you're watching this, you probably want to inherit the kingdom, at least when you die. In Malachi 3, he says that he'll pour out his blessings from heaven, the kingdom, to you, if we would bring our tithes to the storehouse. There is so much potential, But yet we get caught up in our own understanding. We get caught up in our own ideologies and our theories that we forget the most simple thing is the cross. I am cross first, America second. I am cross first, America second. And yes, I know I have a book called America First Retirement Plan, but underneath this, it all leads to the cross. Simply put, guys. So yeah, I don't need to look like a financial advisor. I don't need to wear a tie. I don't need to do all that because I'm catering to people's feelings. That is not me. I'm second. I am absolutely second. This podcast is second. The message of his love, of his cross is first. So with that being said, guys, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for watching this podcast. We've been going on 5 years. Man, it's been awesome. I've received so many amazing phone calls, so many emails, people praying for my daughter, Rachel. A little update about Rachel. She's been going to something called Brain Balance, which helps children with left and right brain function, not talking to each other, doing basic holistic exercises, no drugs, no pharma, none of that garbage, just using exercises to develop parts of her brain that are underdeveloped. So as you guys know, that my daughter is 11 and she has emotional age of 6. So she'll throw temper tantrums and she'll always be angry. She's been angry her whole life. And I've had to ask forgiveness because I would spank her. I would yell at her. I would be heavy-handed at her because I never understood why she would be so disrespectful, why she would do these things like Jekyll and Hyde. And one day it just hit me that I don't know her language because there's something not wired correctly in her brain. And I prayed about it and I got help from doctors. I've given so many vitamins and I looked into just natural remedies, and come to find out her brain's just underdeveloped. And this is a common thing called neurodevelopment disorder. So that's what my daughter has. And so I found a clinic that locally here, thankfully in Tampa, Florida, that she can go to, and they deal with kids like her. And yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, it's 3 times a week, but I'm just asking if you can continue to pray for her so that she can have a prosperous life, that she could go to middle school, that she can just function and have friends, because she tells herself that she can't have friends. That's what a 6-year-old would say. And she doesn't understand just everyday conversations, like to think emotionally and intelligently. Anyways, just continue to pray for her. I know I got some emails on some updates, so I'm excited about it. And I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate your prayers. So I want to pull up Yahoo Finance so you can see what we're going to talk about today. I saw something interesting. So yeah, let's go to Woke Media, Yahoo Finance, and let's just see what they're talking about right now. The market's going down, as you know. 450 points as Walmart cautious outlook spoils mood. The giant retail profit growth would slow. Investors Thursday scrutinized Walmart's outlook and access the impact of President Trump's planned and tariffs of political shifts. The Dow Jones roughly fell 450 points, around 1%. Let's see here. As pulling back as its second record close on Wednesday, while tech-heavy NASDAQ composite lost only about 0.5. Ooh, we'll talk about the NASDAQ here shortly. Worries grew about coming headwinds for corporate America after Walmart beat quarterly profit but issued cautious 2026 fiscal guidance. Shares of the retail giant tumbled more than 6%. Walmart's decline, combined with roughly 4% drops in Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan's weighted on a Dow. So they're just blaming the Trump tariffs, 8% cut in Pentagon spending. You know, speaking of which, we have the Department of Government Efficiency just calling out so much garbage out. I mean, we've talked about the Social Security payments. We talked about illegals getting payments. The bodega cards. Now this lady in New York, obviously with the hotels, getting illegal immigrants high-end hotels to stay in. Like, why wouldn't you want to cross the border? You'd get fed. I mean, they're coming into the droves. Not anymore, but I was in Tampa, Florida, International Mall, and I didn't know this. I think somebody shared this with me the other day. That did you know that if you're here illegally, you actually could be in a mall, a public place, and supposedly it's safe in a sanctuary state. I didn't know that. However, you got to get to the mall first. You got to get there first. So on the way there, you can get picked up. But yeah, the malls in Tampa are empty. Like empty, guys. It is interesting. It's very interesting. It's actually refreshing. There's videos of New York streets. Like the streets are just, they're wide open. And my cousins that live up there, they're telling me that it's only taking them 20 minutes to get to Times Square. I mean, how interesting, how bad was it, guys? Where major cities are completely like normal now. Like you could walk and not bump into somebody in the city. Like I wouldn't go to diaper face city at all anymore. I mean, I was a former stockbroker. I used to love New York City. I used to love Wall Street, guys. Like at one point, New York was very patriotic. It was such a beautiful, iconic American thing. Like how big those buildings were, the lights. As a kid, I was so fascinated by the financial strength. Like it just showed how powerful America was from a prestige standpoint, military standpoint, commerce standpoint. It was beautiful until the wokeness happened. So that's why I became a financial advisor. I wanted just to represent the power of America. I just thought it was so attractive coming from a family that didn't have money. My father was a legal immigrant that came here legally, went to school here legally, joined the army, fought for our country, earned his citizenship. It's amazing. It's amazing how beautiful things are when you do things legally, right? So a lot of people are like, well, Carlos, you're Spanish. And how do you feel about these Spanish people getting kicked out of the country? I'm like, well, first and foremost, I'm Puerto Rican. My mom's from Puerto Rico, and, they're American citizens, just like somebody born in Hawaii. Oh, man. So a lot of ignorant comments there. Oh, man. It's so funny. So good. I grew up in the South, man. So it's, I'm like Southern and Puerto Rican. So yeah, I could listen to, I don't know, Bad Bunny and Morgan Wallen at the same time. Even though Bad Bunny is satanic, we won't even go there. But I do like Spanish reggaeton. So, anyways, I hope you guys understand that there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of controversy. But I got to show you the charts because I want to get to it. Yeah, so I want to just check the markets, but before I do, let's go over check out NVIDIA. A lot of people have NVIDIA and they're asking, hey, what do we do with this AI? Like, man, it's taking over the world. And let's just look at the charts, man. Like I have my political and I have my beliefs, but your feelings don't matter when it comes to Wall Street. Wall Street's not your friend. Wall Street is there to kill, devour, and destroy. But in the meantime, we can take advantage of it and make money off of it. That's what I like to do. So we got red short-term, red medium momentum, long-term turning over. It's red. So we got a death cross back in, let's see here, a death cross on the 30th of January. Bear market rally pops back up. I get a little signal here. That means that a death cross is forming. It already did give us alert where that 200-day moving average right here hits that 50-day moving average. And so what we're seeing is that we have this this pattern here of just it going back up, but our momentum is turning down. So even though it has been coming back up in the form of a retracement, complex retracement, there is a huge potential that this might tick up a little bit and then it'll just tick back down and just plummet here, NVIDIA. So look for NVIDIA to start coming down here. And which brings me to our QQQs. Last time I brought it up, it was all green sailing, smooth sailing. But look, we are losing momentum. You see this? Let me pull my pin out here. Actually, from here to here, we see a slight loss of momentum. Like there's not a lot of movement here. And then over here, there is a decent amount of momentum, but we're absolutely losing momentum with the NASDAQ. Although we got green bars everywhere, we got a buy signal, but it looks like it's starting to turn over. So if you're in the QQQs, it's time to be cautious. It's just simply time to be cautious, because when we have this weakening here and these patterns forming, this could be a wedge, a forming of a wedge. And typically when they have a wedge, they will just wedge out. They'll consolidate in these like little a wedge pattern. And I'll do this number, bounce back and forth through this channel, and then there will be a breakout candle, and then there will be a correction. But typically, depending on the wedge, it could go down and it could go up. But if momentum is actually losing, then chances are 90% chance it's going to come down. And that's where we want to make sure that we're prepared for it. Like my clients, we hope that it goes down, because at the end of the day, this is what we want. We want volatility. And I don't know if I could say that for you. Like, what does volatility do for you? Is it going to hurt you or help you? For us, it's going to help us. And so having that ability to have volatility increase your chances is rare in the industry. So volatility is important because volatility gives us opportunity to basically have sequential returns that are beneficial for you. So when you have sequential returns, people say, "Oh yeah, I got 12% this year in my portfolio." And then the following year, you got negative 25%. And in the following year, you made 18. And the following year, you lost 20. And then the following year, you made 12. And the following year, you made 15. And then the 08 happens and you lost 42%. People can say the average return is 12%, but it does not matter with sequential rate of returns. Sequential returns basically take from your principal. And so when you get rid of the sequential rate of return risk, which is what we're doing here, you're able to only make the upsides. And so this is why greenmoneysolutions.com is so valuable. This is why the Color of Money podcast is game changing. It is absolutely one of the best strategies in retirement that is anti-CBDC, that protects your money from the woke government, from the manipulations of the Wall Street casino. It's out of the stock market. You get an annual statement, not a quarterly statement, not a monthly statement. And more importantly, it's tax deferred. So Uncle Sam can't say, "Hey, you owe me some money." By the way, it's not a bank product. It's not an FDIC insured product. It is straight insurance contract law product. And you do not invest in the stock market. You only get credited by the upswings of the market. So the goal is to find a volatile index that has ability to stabilize with volatility control, but also has ability to have octane and give you that performance, that equity-like performance that you're seeking anyway in your 401k, in your Edward Jones account, in your Merrill Lynch account, Morgan Stanley account. They're following the same indices, but you are driving without a seatbelt. There is no backup for you. Typically speaking, when I speak to clients all across the globe, all across America, they just don't have any bumper rails. They don't have any protection. And so going into 2025, you may be a fan of Trump. You may be a fan of what's going on. Look, I like Trump. I voted for him, but he is not my savior, guys. He is not my savior. I mean, how much? I mean, yeah, you're endorsing the vaccine. Get out of here. That should speak volumes to everybody, right? So it doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who you are. You are responsible for your family. You are responsible for your own retirement. You have to take responsibility. And right now, as a man, as a woman, as an adult, as a God-fearing patriot, it is your responsibility to do the right thing for your own family and for your own legacy. Protect your money at all costs. And this is what we do here at Cortez Wealth. We utilize strategies that are outside of the box, that are pro-American, and we invest with companies that believe in what you and I believe in. Do you know how hard I had to work to get out of the stupid matrix of Wall Street? They paid me money to stay. They give me the carrot on a stick to stay. And because I was a 23-year-old kid that said I would never, my boss at the time told me I would never make it because of a Spanish kid. He told me that I wasn't smart enough. I basically was lazy. Did you know that infuriated me so much that all I wanted to do was prove him wrong? So I left 6 months later, started strategizing a marketing plan. I didn't have a podcast. I used to actually go to feed people, that strangers, pay them to come see me, buy them a meal, pay for a mailer, $6,000-7,000 a month just in mailers, and then another $3,000 to $5,000 just in food, just so they can hear me talk. Come to find out, I didn't like half these people because if some of them were Obama fans. I didn't like half these people because they didn't believe in what I believed in, and it was a lost cause every single month. I did that for 8 years. Gained type 2 diabetes, was driving all the time, didn't have time for exercise, didn't have time for my marriage, didn't have time for my kids, didn't have time for myself. It was a terrible life. And so this is why the advisor typically goes through all this stress only to pigeonhole you into products that are not favorable to you, just so they can make a commission. And I'm not speaking bad about commissions. We make commissions here, but we're also fiduciaries, and we don't need to generate commissions on every client. I'm okay not getting another client for the rest of my career because I've built a fiduciary-based business. We don't have commission breath here. And we want to treat people with the utmost respect. And we expect the same thing. Like, we are not desperate for business. And we will not tolerate people that call us to hate on us. We will not tolerate that. Just like any company refuses to do business with you. Like, how many conservatives have been debanked? How many people have been debanked from Chase and all the woke companies? We do the same thing to liberals and people that come from a hateful background. It's not that hard. Anyways, going back into the charts, wanted to talk about, like, what the heck's going on, man. So yeah, QQQ losing momentum. For those of you that like the leverage ETF, TQQQ, same daggone deal. Look at this wick right here. Holy smokes. Pop. It just dropped, boom, and came right back up. These are signs of weakness, guys. These are signs of volatility. Speaking, that volatility index going back to 16, once it hits 18, that's when the game starts, guys. That's when the game starts. So we get the call. Carlos, what's going on with the stock market? The first thing I'm going to look at is the volatility index. And yep, we got a golden cross here. I told you last podcast, February 11th, we got a golden cross. This is going to go up. We said this February 11th. I mean, with that podcast that week, I said, hey, the volatility index, the VIX, is going to go up. And when it does, we will see massive, massive, massive volatility in the market. So for those of you that want to buy the volatility index, you can go to VIXY. And it's, like I said, this thing has been an all-time low for forever. I mean, I could go back years. Look at this thing, man. Like it was past like the high was almost 40,000. Right now it's at 40.86. No one really buys or pays attention to this ETF because they don't even know that there's an ETF that invests in the VIX. But I'm telling you right now, there is. You could buy this ETF, possibly make a ton of money when the stock market goes down or if there's volatility. So it's just been sitting here in consolidation, flatlining literally for 10 years. Could it pop? Could it be this year that it pops? You might want to look at some leaps here, some long-term option calls, or maybe just buy the ETF and just hold it. But VIXY is all-time low. I'm going to be looking at it personally because I think that would be a great trade. I think it'll be a fantastic trade when that thing hits. So we got VIXY. For those of you that follow the S&P 500, I'll talk about the S&P when I'm getting in and out. Of course, it's not investment advice. This is just simply education purposes only. So we had a scare in January, right? You guys remember that? Boom. And then my system alerted us to buy around January 21st. And it's been going up ever since. But we're starting to see some weaknesses here. And quite frankly, we're getting a pattern. We're getting a funky like wedge pattern. I don't know if you see that. So let me show you. Once this wedge pattern completes, go like this. It'll look like this. And typically what it does, guys, it'll just bounce in here. Boom, boom. And it'll just bounce. And then it will either skyrocket up, whatever that breakout candle is, or it will just go down from here. Now, when this goes down, that volatility index is going to pop. That VIXY is going to pop. We could be a few weeks out. We could be 2 days out. We could be a month out, a year out. But when this gets filled, this formation holds, we will see a market correction. And we're looking at good 20. I mean, the next support resistance level is right now, the S&P is at 61.47, the high. We can get down to 5,800. I mean, it can come, like if I look at my other charts, actually, let me bust out another chart real quick. Go to, not my predictor. Yeah, there goes the wedge again. But we could see some serious corrections here. So we have a low ADX, as a matter of fact. So when we have a low ADX, something is going to happen. We're either going to go up or down. There's no sideways when it has a low ADX. You see, whenever I have this white, it typically moves. You see this white, it typically moves high. It basically notifies us that there's a move coming. So there's white, there's all this white here, boom. There's white here, steady stream up. So we are getting the white. We're getting a formation here. It could come down. And we get one traffic light that is actually red, a medium momentum, meaning it's weakening. So my oscillator is reaching this high here. Once it hits this blue line, chances are it will come back down. You see this blue line here, came back down. Blue line came back down. Look at the actual S&P came back down. Obviously popped back up. But yeah, something's going to happen. I don't know. This is why I'm telling you, like, your advisor should be having this conversation with you. If you're just a sitting duck, are you looking at this? Do you have a professional that believes in what you believe in, that actually believes in the cross, that doesn't support the LGBT community, that will love his neighbor as himself, that will be independent in America first, God first, America second, I would say? Do you have an advisor that believes like what you believe in? Or you're just comfortable hanging out with the Merrill Lynch crowd, hanging out with the Edward Jones crowd? Are you comfortable with your local independent fiduciary that invests you in Pfizer? If that's what you want, then stay where you're at. Do not call our office complaining, hey, I lost 45%, blah, 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 in the next market crash. I've been telling you this for a long time coming. There's stuff out there that these people don't talk about, the major media doesn't talk about, but me as a trader, me as a financial advisor, this is what I live and breathe, guys. I'm telling you, it's coming. This formation is no joke. I got a red ticker on a massive indicator that lets me know where the banks are moving money at. The banks are moving money. We're not just moving money from the UK, London to America. Like, that's corny news. That has nothing to do with your retirement. This has everything to do with your retirement, because I promise you, you are allocated to the S&P 500 in your 401ks and your mutual funds and your corny mutual funds at Edward Jones that support everything that you're totally against. Your money will probably call you a hypocrite if it was alive and could speak. Do not invest in these things, guys. Like, find out what your standard deviation is. Like yesterday. Call me, email me. My email is info@cortezwm.com. I want to give you advice. You can call our office, 813-448-3446. There's so much an abundance of information I could show you. I can quantify. I can Scanalytic for you. I can give you a Morningstar report. Like, there's a lot of things I could do to show you how to lower your risk, increase your reward, lower your fees, lower your standard deviation, increase your reward, give you a plan that would actually last you for the rest of your life, so that you don't have to worry about this mumbo jumbo. You don't even have to worry about this. So yes, amazing things out there. Just gotta call. You can book an appointment with us at cortezwm.com. You probably clicked this link because you don't trust the stock market. You know that it's manipulated. You know it's rigged for the big banks. You know that you can be financially inoculated with everything that's going on. And the reason why you're here is because you might have some FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fearful because you don't know what's going on. Uncertainty because there's no one to talk to. And doubtful because there's no plan on what is about to come. But one thing, when it comes to retirement planning, if you don't have a game plan for whatever is about to come, then you are not prepared. It's time for you to protect your money outside of buying gold and silver. This is going to be the best thing because you're protected by contract law. Completely different animal, guys. Again, Carlos Cortez here. Hope I can hear from you. And let's just have a conversation to see if this strategy works for you. So for those of you that know my story, I put my business ahead of my family. I put my business, honestly, ahead of the church. I put my business ahead of me. For 10, 15 years, I was grinding. I was going to every home locally here. I was going to every restaurant, whining and dining clients, getting home sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I just would give my family the scraps. I didn't have kids at the time that was in sports. But I just figured my wife should be home all day and she'll cook and clean and I'll get home. And I did my job as a provider. And the next day we'll go on and we'll live a happy life. Well, that doesn't work, guys. And because of that messed up mindset that I got programmed into, I actually developed type 2 diabetes. I gained a lot of weight. I was almost 300 pounds. I was a former soccer player and I ate so much because I would run 10 miles a day that when I stopped playing in college, I didn't even know how to eat. Like, I didn't understand basic nutrition. All I knew was pizza, beer, chicken, Spanish food, rice and beans, carved up. I never liked sugar. I was more of a salty and carb guy, savory guy. And so that, with the stress of running a financial advisor business, literally almost killed me. My doctor told me that I would die by the time I would have a stroke by the time I'm 45. I would possibly die by the age of 50 of a heart attack. It wasn't until recent, about 3 years ago, where I got a hold of my health, and I just started walking. I just started focusing on health. And then 1 year into it, I really didn't take it that seriously. I knew I'd made a change. Second year, I knew I really needed a plan. And once I needed a plan, I hired a coach, Coach Josiah. Great, great, great guy. But then recently, I wanted to not only have a plan, but also take some plant-based products that help me lose weight, to help me gain my focus back. So having all this weight, I had brain fog like you would not believe. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't even talk sometimes because my head was spinning. The anxiety was through the roof. And so I'm proud to talk about getmeleanusa.com. Not only have I lost weight, I've gained muscle. You guys know that I've had a shoulder injury where I can't even lift my shoulder past that. It still hurts, but I'm working on it. I'm doing physical therapy. I'm taking plant-based peptides for strength and actually working it out through physical therapy. But I want you guys to understand, please go to go to getmeleanusa.com. Take these peptides for your brain. They're not synthetics. So the Ozempics of the world, the B157s, the TRTs, all these peptides that these men are taking and women are taking, they're synthetics, and they're made by the big pharma disgusting people. But you want this new technology that is a game changer. It is anti-pharmacy, and they are God-fearing company made in America. I stand behind them. I am taking all their products, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. I'm more focused. I feel more alive now than I was in my 30s when I was fat, lazy, obese. I couldn't run. My kids would run circles around me. Now I'm down 70 pounds. I run circle around my kids. They have to keep up with me. I am skating with 25, 35-year-olds, former collegiate athletes. Some have played professionally. I'm skating with these guys, and I've never even played ice hockey 5 years ago. And I love ice hockey. My son's an amazing hockey player. Take the peptides. Go to getmeleanusa.com. You won't regret it. Email me. If you buy some, I'm going to send you my personal work cell. I'll send you a personal video thanking you. And I want to follow up with you. I actually care about your health and your wealth. So if you buy some, I promise you I'll reach out to you personally and thank you and see how you're doing. So go to getmeleanusa.com. I want to help America lose weight, get fit, get healthy, get your mind right, get your hydration right, get your energy right. And this podcast is more than just financial. It is a spiritual alignment. It's a spiritual awakening, physically, mentally, socially, and financially. So go to getmeleanusa.com, get you some. Let's get fit together. Life moves fast, so you got to make it count. You know, this morning I woke up, went to bed actually early last night. I didn't have a late hockey game. And, you know, I trade. I'm getting more serious on my trading in the morning. So I went to bed early so I can be present with the Lord. I can be present with my craft in the morning and be present taking the kids to school. I woke up really early, like 5. And I was reminded in 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds. My prayer to you is that if you are struggling with anxiety, depression, lust, alcohol, gambling, pornography, whatever it is, I pray 2 Corinthians 10:4 on your life. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds. my Lord, my Jesus Christ, died on the cross. That sacrifice was an exchange. Was an exchange so that he could cover our sin. That he himself knew that we couldn't do it without him. And sometimes I forget that. I forget those basic words, man. God's promises are so deep. They're forever. We are the only faith that has a living God. Everyone else, you have to do works in order to earn your celestial achievement. You have to earn your salvation in any other faith, or fake faith, I would say. When our Lord was born in a stinky, donkey-infested, crap-infested manger, the King of all kings, you would think he would be born in like a crib of gold. No, he was born in a raggedy barn. Jesus himself. And the same Jesus literally grew up, had no sin in his life, came as a form of a human being. He wasn't a positive thinker. He wasn't a negative thinker. He was a truth teller. He told it like it is. And yes, the Jews and the Romans killed him. And when they killed him and spat on him and urinated on him and killed and just smashed the thorns on his head, he still did not choose to hate the Jews or the Romans. He said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That exchange reminds me that there is a belt of truth. There's a breastplate of righteousness. There's sandals of peace, shield of faith, a helmet of salvation, a sword of the Spirit. If you're being attacked, it's because your shield is not up and you don't have your sandals of peace on. If being attacked, you don't have the time in the Word to fight the enemy, because he is going to fight. If he's not fighting against you, he has nothing to fight for. If you're not being attacked, he already has you. You got to stay sharp, guys. Now, I'm not saying if you're not being attacked, he already has you. What I'm saying is that to check yourself, to make sure that your name is written in the book of life. Because life is not easy, especially when you're following Christ. We are called to be persecuted, right? There will be some persecution. So my prayer to you is 2 Corinthians 10:4, that the mighty God is pulling down strongholds, whatever that means to you. Now we want to pray with you. This is more than a financial show. If there's something that you want to tell me, feel free to email me at info@cortezw1.com. We love you. We're very passionate about the cross, about America, and about your retirement, and about your health. So give us a call. We want to help you. Don't forget to like and subscribe our Rumble channel. We need a lot of help there, guys. So please go to Rumble. Follow us on Rumble, on Scriptures and Wallstreet. I'll be dropping some other content there as well. And don't forget to get your peptides at getmeleanusa.com. You won't regret it. If you buy it, I personally will thank you. I'll send you a text, so make sure you put your right number on there. And I'll send you a video thanking you. And also a shout out. So, yeah, get ready, guys. Let's get fit. Let's get financially fit, and let's get spiritually fit. Don't forget to book your appointment at CortezW1.com, where you can scan the QR code here. That being said, guys, I'm out of here. God bless. You probably clicked this link because you don't trust the stock market. You know that it's manipulated. You know it's rigged for the big banks. You know that you can be financially inoculated with everything that's going on. And the reason why you're here is because you might have some FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fearful because you don't know what's going on. Uncertainty because there's no one to talk to. And doubtful because there's no plan on what is about to come. But one thing, when it comes to retirement planning, if you don't have a game plan for whatever it is about to come, then you are not prepared. It's time for you to protect your money outside of buying gold and silver. This is going to be the best thing because you're protected by contract law. Completely different animal, guys. Again, Carlos Cortez here. Hope I can hear from you. And let's just have a conversation to see if this strategy works for you.